Hi folks, we have here, this is a coast live oak, and it has this nice horizontal limb, and on that in the sunlight we can see here this is moss, and then all of this to the left, these are lichens. So both are growing on the oak, and the term for that, these would be termed epiphytes. So phyte is a plant growing on another plant. So moss, so this one here is a moss. In fact, I think there's at least 3 different species of moss here. But mosses are plants, they're in the plant kingdom. They are able to photosynthesize. They are only using the oak as a substrate, and that means they're growing on it. It means that they're growing above the ground surface. They're growing on the soil, then perhaps they could be flooded during rain, or trampled by animals, or simply covered by leaves that fall in October and November. So mosses are able to absorb rain and then grow using their own enzymes. Some people falsely think that mosses are growing on the oak and harming it, almost like a parasite, but they grow on the outside. So if I can peel back just here some of the roots, they're growing on the surface of the bark, and the bark is non-living. So they don't negatively impact the tree in any way at all. And this is an example of an interaction between species called commensalism. So the moss benefits by growing on the oak. The oak isn't harmed in any way, but it doesn't benefit from the presence of the moss. So the oak is unaffected or unharmed. And this is the definition of commensalism. So folks, here we have the lichen. So there's a crust of lichen here, and in fact there's a little moss poking through here. So in a similar way to how mosses grow on the surface of the oak and benefit from being on the surface of the oak, lichens also gain the same benefits and also do not harm the oak. It's another example of commensalism. Whereas mosses are plants and have plant cells and do photosynthesis on their own, lichens are not. Lichens are a symbiotic association between 2 partners. The large one that makes up most of the surface of the lichen is a fungus, and inside the fungus there are photosynthetic algae. So the algae are responsible for the green colors we see here. The algae does photosynthesis, and the fungus benefits from that process. It gets the sugars made by the algae. In return, the algae is protected by the layers of fungus that prevents them from dehydrating. And the fungus also enables the algae to grow on the substrate. So we've got 2 different forms of lichens here. We've got this one, this is a shield lichen, and if you can see, it's attached underneath, but attached loosely. I can kind of poke my finger under and pull it up here. So this is termed foliose, leaf-like lichens. We also have a couple of oak moss lichens, one here, one here. So they are more densely structured. They are attached at one point, and they grow up and away from the substrate, almost like a little shrub. And the other ones that we might see dangle. So they're attached from a branch and they dangle down. Things like beard lichen, those are also fruticose lichens.